Alright, Schlockmeister fans, a request from Tanya. Finally getting to it. Demon Witch Child, otherwise known as The Possessed, from 1975. Let's check it out. Apparently a young male child is missing. Here's the local priest.
The child will be found. And the chalice is probably in the hands of some unscrupulous antique dealer. We'll catch the thief, don't worry. But please don't alarm the people. Young people nowadays are bored with just sex and drugs. We just have a few questions we'd like to ask you, that's all.
Here's the old witch, the old gypsy woman.
Don't touch me! Terrible things will happen to you! My master will protect me. Hey!
Come on. Let's go. Witch?
They let the distraught mother talk to the witch.
No, please don't shout at her. I know she'll tell me. I'll ask her on my knees if I have to. She'll give me back my son. Lady, tell me, for the son.
You'll never see him again. He'll be sacrificed to the great master.
I'll give you everything.
Why?
Everything.
Stop your whining.
So what is our witch gonna do?
Right, but it's our secret. I'll give him to you.
This is a little girl named Susan.
And not show him to anyone.
She's being presented with some sort of evil toy.
Where did you get that horrible necklace?
Don't you touch it. You're horrible. You're a pig. You let him do dirty things to you. You're both filthy dogs.
Susan's not acting normal anymore. Meanwhile, I don't know if they're in a hospital or where they are, but that old lady, gypsy woman who fell out the window, died, and we see her, like, soul or something get up, walk into the next room where Susan is sleeping. This is a clear case of possession.
Susan Barnes, daughter of our highwayman. In his name I order you to violate the laws of all nature. To upset plans.
Basically, she was summoning Susan, and it worked.
Renounce with all your heart and strength your God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost, baptism, and all the prayers you have ever made.
I renounce those.
Here's your breakfast.
Susan's a bitch now.
Day outside.
Bullshit!
I don't know what's wrong with her this morning.
Leave us alone, will you?
You don't want to answer.
These are things you learn about, Susan.
She's asking dirty things.
You as well?
Yes.
Then you're either a goddamn queer or impotent.
Meanwhile, that little boy apparently was sacrificed at that ceremony. This is the mother again.
Who could be so diabolical as to eat a child?
We better start now.
Meanwhile, the townsfolk go to the grave of the witch and burn her.
Incredibly superior IQ.
Susan? She always seemed to me like an ordinary child, even not very good in her studies.
She spoke to me in several languages, including ancient Greek and also in Latin. And in another language completely unknown to me, but which might well have been Sanskrit.
Meanwhile, the maid finds that weird satanic toy.
Hey, Ed! Look what I found here!
And gets attacked by the other toys.
I want you to do something, will you? Medicines or exorcisms, it's unimportant to me if she's insane or if she's made a pact with the devil. I don't need either magical or logical explanations. We have to put an end to this horror.
And you to see me like this.
This is Esther. I guess she had a thing with the priest before he became a priest.
I want you to contemplate what you've done. And yet you can't forget that I'm the same young woman that you once loved.
She really misses him.
Leave the priesthood. And let's go away together. Oh, I'll do whatever you want me to do. No other woman can love you like I do.
That's not the kind of love I feel for you.
Don't pretend. I heard you both talking in his office. Don't you get enough with your newspaper reporter? Bunch of pigs.
I'm not taking you to the park today. What are you doing with that rubbish around your neck? I told you to throw it away.
I'm getting tired of you.
Susan, let me go.
Now here's Susan's on the phone pretending to be Anne.
Hi, honey.
Sorry to bother you. I have to see you right away, darling. It's very important.
She's got the voice
Right
down.
now. But Ann, I'm snowed under with work.
Forget the newspaper for once in your life. I'm in danger. I can't come to your office. We shouldn't be seen together. Seen and evil. And I've also seen malignant eyes in the back of the child's eyes. Yes, Father, I believe she's possessed.
Watch closely as Susan transforms from Susan into that old gypsy woman. In Susan's body. Weird. Now here's Susan crawling out the window. And in a very odd scene, she's crawling upside down the house, but notice how her skirt defies gravity. Amazing. So
It's Ann's voice. Oh my God.
he went to see Anne, but it wasn't
How's it
Anne.
possible that you could...
Don't ask me questions. The important thing is we're alone together and we're going to love each other.
Nope, she's going to attack and kill him. She basically chokes the life out of him and slams his head into the concrete, killing him.
I knew you'd finally give in.
Then in a rather disturbing scene, she unbuckles his pants, reaches in.
You're well hung. Oh, what good are they to you now?
So what do you do when you find a well-hung dead man? Well, naturally, you cut off his penis. He's got a recording of Anne calling him, but obviously we know that's not Anne.
Do you recognize your voice?
I don't know. I don't understand this. I didn't speak to William.
Damn counting. Hey, that's my voice. What?
She came in and presented a little package to Anne. Her boyfriend's penis. What a nice little girl. Anyway, it's time for another ceremony.
Mother Gautier.
My name is Susan.
No. You are the princess of the old ones.
I'm the daughter of Police Commissioner Barnes.
Anyway, they need a baby for the next ritual, which of course they plan to kill. She happens to know someone who has a newborn. Her.
Yes, she's here now.
I left her with my
Don't
baby.
be long.
She presents the baby.
Lord and Master Lucifer, I recognize you as my powerful master and prince, and I promise to serve you and obey you as long as I live. To do evil, to spread confusion and hatred.
You're all under arrest.
Well, the cops showed up just in time to take her out. Susan ran off with the baby, but then she dropped it and left it.
Susan, in the name of God.
And fresh.
And Susan turns into
I
Esther.
have illusion.
No. You're not Esther. You don't deceive me.
When I died, I came to ask refuge here.
Retro Satan. Body retro.
That'll teach her. And she slowly turns back into regular Susan.
She's left now. I'm free.
So let me die in peace, she said, and I guess she wasn't lying. So exorcism, I guess, kind of worked or whatever, and but it killed Susan. What have we learned? All right. Demon Witch Child, otherwise known as The Possessed. I have 2 movies called The Possessed in my collection. One from 75, one from 77. And I've actually reviewed them both now. Although this one is under the title Demon Witch Child. So anyway, the movie itself is on this Grindhouse experience. I showed you, actually I didn't show you, but there's a box set. There's 3 in 1 here. They got 20 movies. And this is the 3rd disc in the set. The Children is on this little disc, as well as High School Hitchhikers and Carry On Emmanuel. Emmanuel movie, yeah. Anyway, this movie, it's basically a ripoff of The Exorcist. I think it's an Italian-made film. The girl, Susan, in this movie is played by an actress who did like 3 other things, and then she just haven't been heard from since. But she actually dubbed the voice of Regan in The Exorcist for the Italian market. So they decided to throw her in this Exorcist ripoff. I think it'd be funny if Linda Blair had done the voice for her in the English soundtrack, but that's not the case. So anyway, we have a girl who meets somebody. She's in a park and she meets this other witch or something, gives her this weird toy and kind of sets her on the path. And there's this old gypsy woman who's part of some sort of satanic death cult or something, and they're involved with killing kids, little boys and stuff. So she tosses herself out a window, dies, and then she comes back. Her soul comes out and goes into this little girl, Susan. Then all of a sudden, Susan is possessed by this evil gypsy death woman, whatever she is. I don't know, witch. So she starts doing all the typical things that Regan did in The Exorcist, swearing, talking dirty, saying just filthy things to people. All the while, she needs a baby. Eventually, she gets a baby. She takes it to this other ceremony that's happening out in the woods somewhere, this ritual. But the cops finally catch up to them all and shoot up the place a little bit, kill the woman who was in charge. Susan runs off with the baby. Eventually, she drops it on a stoop somewhere. And then she's confronted by the priest, who puts a little cross on her forehead. It burns, and apparently the gypsy woman left at that point. But ultimately, it killed Susan. I don't even know what actually killed her, because she seemed fine. She looked normal. The cross burn was gone. She was talking. Next thing you know, she said, I can die in peace, and that's the end of it. So anyway, that's our movie. Demon Witch Child was released, I believe, by Code Red, actually. So there's a much better version floating around than this Grindhouse Experience one, which looks pretty shabby, actually. No nudity in this movie. There's a couple of death scenes, obviously. I don't think there was any gore, really. Maybe when the woman jumped out the window. Not a lot here. Again, basically what you got is an Exorcist ripoff. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But was it boring? Not really. But it kind of dragged a little bit in spots. But it's not bad. But for what it is, just odd. So anyway, you can get this. I'll leave a link down below, probably to the Amazon link to the Code Red version, which comes with another movie called The Possessed, which is a different The Possessed, although it's not the same The Possessed that I reviewed earlier with Harrison Ford. Anyway, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. It's called Demon Witch Child. Thanks to Tanya for the recommendation. Let me know what you think about it. Leave some comments down below. Watch it. Bye.